Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. This is class 7 of our 9-class series. We're going to be covering the preferences, the report and style format. Uh, Next week, we'll be covering the fonts and styles on the privacy tabs, and then we'll wind up on the text and page layout, and then the about section. Um, so, get to here to the preferences to the report and style formats. Um, Now you'll see right now part of this stuff is ghosted out. You can't make any changes. We're here, we can make some changes. This all is based on what type of book you're doing. Right here where we start, see right now I'm doing a Descendants book. So these Descendants options are there. If I change this to an Ancestors book, well, these Descendants styles don't make any difference, but now we got these styles that we can play with. And if you're doing a alphabetical family register, neither of those sections apply. Same thing with a relatives tab. None of these apply. So I'm going to start by just covering this section that's the common with everyone. And first, this childless use carried forward indicator. What this will do is means that this child, well, first off, this plus sign, this is the carried forward indicator. And this indicates that Caroline Kennedy, excuse me, is listed elsewhere with her family. Where John F. Kennedy Jr., Patrick, they don't have a plus sign, so they're only listed here with their parents. And we go down here to the families of descendants. Yep. So here's Caroline with her family and stuff. So likewise, Tatiana has a section, but Jack and Rose don't. So that's a carried forward indicator. If we uncheck that, and then go back here, you can see, yeah, see, so now there's no plus sign. So that's what the carried forward indicator is. And depending upon the numbering system for the descendant styles, sometimes, see, in this case, it would be useful to have the carried forward indicator, but there are other numbering styles where it's a redundant fact, and I'll be getting back to that. Yeah, once we start going over these descendant styles. Birth order style, this is strictly how you want the children listed, or numbered, I mean. Because see, right now here you see, the lower Roman numeral 1, 2, 3. You could change it to something else, like here, like ABC. And then, yeah, then so they'll be listed there, A, B, C. And I mean, I'm not going through all these permutations, but you can do, you can have it just numbers 1, 2, 3 with a dot, parentheses before, or you don't have to, or you don't even have to do it at all. It could just list the children. Um, and then likewise, for the indication of the sex, because if you look back here, it says F for female, M for male. You can also have it use I don't know if they're the genealogy symbols. So then, it uses that symbol for female, that symbol for male. Um, and then likewise, you've got the option of not displaying, the sex at all. So then, here it just, just doesn't have anything there. So the generation number starting at some people have like Family Book Creator defaults at the starting generation is 0, because if you're doing, say, a Descendants book, you are the starting couple are generation 0, because you're not your own descendant. Likewise, if you're doing an ancestors book, you're not your own ancestor. So generation 1 would be your children if you're doing a descendants book. Generation 1 would be your parents if you're doing an ancestors book. Some people like the starting person be 1, so you can start it that way. If you're doing maybe a book in sections, where say, hey, I want to start this at, well, I want to start at 1, and then where these numbers start at 1, maybe you're doing a book in sections, and it's like, say, well, okay, I want that to start at, say, maybe I want the individual to start at 16. So rather than, let's just go back here. So here, John F. Kennedy, he's generation 0. Well, actually, I don't think that's their thing that pertains here to first generation. Yeah. But John F. Kennedy here, he's starting person 1. If I told it to start counting at generation 1 and number 16, like this, yeah, see, John F. Kennedy starts at generation 1. He starts at number 16, then goes down 17, 18, 19. Families, generations, here it's second generation, third generation. And then now on the markings, for this is, you can see I've got like color coding assigned on this. And then let's switch to like an ancestors book where it's a little bit more thing to use the style. You got multicolored dots, you can do others. The standard with the multicolored dots, it's just, it's these dots here. And then also like how they are in the places and individuals for the names. And then that is size medium. I mean, you can also do small or large. I mean, that just makes them slightly larger. So there's medium, there's large. And you'll note on the places tab, it doesn't affect the size on the index, only on this family tree chart. Um, I'll get to your question just a little bit, Doreen. And then likewise, you can also tell it to use small dots. And like I said, that's small, medium, large. You also have the option to say substitute yellow with gray, because sometimes with printing, yellow can be kind of hard to spot. So let's just close some of these. So here you can see the yellow dot there. Here is just gray now. So it's still a unique color, but it stands out a little bit better than the yellow. And the multicolored, that yellow does apply down here, because like, okay, here's this Hannah, Mary, Josephine, and it's that gray. Now, if you are printing in, you've also got the option of using symbols. And this is particularly handy, say if say you like the color coding, but you want to print in black and white. Well, the color dots really won't translate well into black and white. Uh, so you can choose to do other items like circle digits, you still got that. And then you've got the option of using color or not. Uh, like here, I told it circle dots. And then if you tell it like no color, it's like that. And if you go to the manual, and Stefan did post the link, uh, here's all the different options, so for digits, whether it's color and then black and white, small letters, capital letters, uh, geometric symbols, triangle, stars, so you've got a variety of options for how you want to do it. And one thing you will notice, it always displays the colors in this order. This is the way that they are in Family Tree Maker. And if you just close some of these, because see here, if you notice, I'll do this, it's easier to read with the circle dots. See, this is that first color. So, I mean, if you'd want these colors to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you would have to assign them you, you would have to assign them that color. You'd have to assign, red would be that first one uh, for this person, on and on. Uh, and so in that case, that's where it might be nice if you don't want to do that, but you don't want like these numbers out of order. That's where using these geometric triangles, stars, card symbols would be applied, because then there is no real order to them. So, okay, Doreen asks, if two branches are merged into one book, 6 generations of grandfathers, 5 generations of grandmother, could you still use this feature of numbering people? Um, well, we really haven't gotten into the numbering system yet. And so that will all depend, because the numbering system I was referring to is only for listing the children. And depending upon what numbering system you use, that can change. So, is there a way to, Thomas asks, is there a way to include an index for what the colors stand for? Yes, as a matter of fact, Family Book Creator automatically does that, and I did cover that. I think that's in forward. Yeah, all you gotta do is use this color coding legend, and in this book, here, so it says this is this. This is automatically generated. And if you do want something different, there are other ways where you can do your own color coding legend, assign a thing, create a Word document, and then assign the media category to it. And then when it sees this color coding legend, it will use that rather than generating its own. Uh, so okay, so now let's get into the numbering systems. Let's do a descendants book. So the first style is like a register style. What I was showing before was, I believe, the NGSQ style. where basically any person that has their own section will have a number. So here, before you notice, like John Fitzgerald was 3, Patrick was 4. That was using the NGSQ, where every person has their own number. If you do register style, only if they have their own section will they have a number. Uh, so here's the um, no, I did a different numbering system on that one altogether. Um, Let me just go back to one of these previous ones. No, no. Yeah, so this is the NGSQ, so they've got their own number. The register, like I said, John Fitzgerald and Patrick don't have their number system, so they don't have a number. And here is an area where this use carried forward indicator really doesn't make sense. I mean, because anyone that's got a number would basically have that plus sign. So if you are doing the register, you could probably just uncheck that, so then it wouldn't have that plus sign. But that's the register system. Now, if you go to now, if we do the Henry system, this one is a little bit different, and this one I had to go into my family and to do an what's happening here. Oh, there we go. I had to go into my family's line because it pertains to where there's more than 10 children. Well, my grandma was the oldest of 11 children. So with this, what the Henry system does is it starts with well, it all starts with the first, and then the next number is basically, okay, Dorothy is the first child, Helen's the second, third, so 13, 17, 19. Now it gets to the 10th child, and then it uses A and B. And then likewise, then we go down to those children, Dorothy's 11. Uh, oh, okay, yeah. I'll get back to that one. Uh, the modified Henry just has another way where it doesn't use the A, where rather than the ABC, it goes 10, 11. And then, did I do extra generations here? No, I didn't. Well, it would have been Curtis Rodney here, would have been, uh, the 1, 1, and then another 1 for, uh, well, actually, no, yeah, Dorothy's 1, 1. So then Curtis Rodney here would be 1, 1, 1. Ruben would be 1, 1, 2. So second grandchild from the first child from the first one. I've got other examples where we'll be going into this. Uh, the other one is the uh, Dabboville system. I probably really mispronounced that. Yeah, this one I did go into it. Where it's similar, it just puts a dot between them. So it's 1.1, 1.2, 1.10, 11. And now so now here when it goes down to the other section, see Curtis Rodney is 111, 112, 113. Helen is, 1-2, so her kids are 121, 122, 123, 124, on and on. I'm going to go to Alice Grace Hall because this goes with because she had a child with someone else, well, with one person, and then she got married, and then she had others. And this Paul did adopt her, so that's why she's listed twice. Um, but I'm just showing this because now if we go to the modified Aboville system, that's where it goes into if someone's got spouses, children from more than one spouse. Uh, that's where it will go into play. Um, you'll see this, is all the same. There is no distinction. But now if we go down here to Alice, you'll now see Susan now has an A because it's like, okay, she's um, from the start person, she's from the ninth child and then the first spouse of that person, and then it's the first child of that relationship. And now here you'll see, in the Dabboville, see Paulette was listed as child 2. So it's the second child from the ninth child of the starting person. Now here it's like, no, we got 2.1s, but it's like Susan's the first child from the first spouse of the ninth child, where Paulette's the first child of the second spouse of the ninth child. So that's the main difference between the Dabboville and the modified Dabboville. Then the next one is the descendant line system. Let's see here. I went back here. Now this one gets a little yeah, because this one gets okay. Yeah, this is here the last number. This is the generation, so they're the first generation. And then so it's like the first child, second child, third child. And then so Caroline now here, she's the second, Rose is second generation, so it's the first child from Caroline. And then since there were I think since there were 3 children, then their children all jump numbers by 3. Uh uh yeah, it's easier in the manual. Let me bring that back up here. Because this is a relatively newer style. And if we go here, because this will also apply in the ancestors. Where are we? descendant numbering system. Yeah, so this references 8. In the manual, there's this line to go to ancestrallines.net, and you can read up a lot more about how that is set up. I encourage you to do it. I know, so here in this person, the first person is a 0, so in the first child. And then, you'll see, okay, so Jonathan had John and Hannah, so 2 children. So you see these ones always stick across. These two stick across. But now since there's 2 children, they go like 3, 2, 4, 2, and then likewise at 3 copies across at 4, and then so uh, extra children just get assigned extra numbers. And I mean, this is like I think I get it, and then I lose it as to exact numbering system. But if you go through this does explain it, how that numbering and is designed, and it's good for everyone should have a unique number, and it's good for tracing matrilineal lines and patrilineal lines. So, like I said, you can read up more about it. Like I said, in the manual, there's a link right to it. Just go into that descendant numbering system. Just likewise, when they do the ancestral, they've got the ancestral pairs. That's that all pertains to this newer style that's on this website. So, okay, let's go on to um, oh yeah, one other thing on any of these systems, you got a thing of organizing by families or by generations. By generations, that's how these normal ones were. Because you basically you see, the first generation, so here are the children, second generation, here's the grandchildren. You've also got an option of displaying it by descendants, or yeah, by families. I'm sorry. And if you've ever in Family Tree Maker, if you've ever done the outline descendants report, where it lists the first child, then their first child, then their first child, before it goes on to the second children. Uh, that's how that does it. And so it does, this one's not a best example, though you will see that those numbers change because 7 and 8, because now we're going to go on to Carolyn's family. So Carolyn's kids will get, 3 and 4, and see, and then here there's a 6 because Tatiana had a kid. So Tatiana's kid got 5. And then it goes back to Jack, so like I said, if you've ever done an outline descendants report, it uses that format. And I normally do descendants books by generation. That's just the order I prefer. But if I ever want to break out sections and send them to family members, I'll have it organized by by families because then all their group is together. So it's like if I wanted to send stuff to Caroline, I could just send her this section and I wouldn't have to worry about all the descendants of her siblings and stuff like that. Um,
John, may I recommend that you show the table of contents because this shows the difference.
oh, yes, yes. Because yeah, because, yeah, see here, this one, it shows, yeah, the families of, and then, where here, yeah, see here, it does first generation, second generation. So, that's a different way. And like I said, this isn't enough people. Like if I did my main tree, I mean, it would be real evident how it is. Because like I said, my grandma was the oldest of 11 children. So, I mean, it would list my grandma, then, well, my uncle, and then all of his kids, grandkids, da da da. Then it'd go on to, my mom, then list my first brother, his kids and grandkids. Then it'd go to my second brother, his kids, grandkids, my sister, on and on before it gets to me. So, okay, so now let's go on to the ancestor section. Uh, so now the standard is like the Sosa strat, the Sosa system. I'm not even gonna do it. And actually, this uh, I'm not even gonna pronounce that Kikuo number. This is the one where some people say, no, ooh, I get numbers really big. Um, Let me just see where. Oh, hold it. Hold it. Sorry, I skipped a section. Let's go back to descendants. So I forgot all about this stuff down here. Back references to generations. If there is no generation indicator, that's like here. So, like before, some of these others, it had like a zero, which told it what generation this person was. Uh, that's where that generation indicator goes. Uh, if you tell it to go back to the start reference or back reference to the starting individual, then it's back to, no, whoops, no, that was a different one. No, let me just go back to one of these. So here is like generation zero. If you tell it back reference to the oldest patrilineal ancestor, that's where this one came in. So here he's actually the 16th generation, even though I'm starting with him, this is his father, grandfather, great grandfather, all the way as to who they are in the tree. And then starting individual as immigrant, basically that just does a slightly different numbering system. Um, for these where, okay, so JFK is back at generation zero, but then it lists his father's A, grandfather's B, C, D, E, F, G, it just uses letters, rather than say using like a negative number to show, the parentage. Um, and then whether or not you want it in italics or not. And then, but see now, if you tell it no back references, yeah, see, then it does not display the names. So, I mean, you could have it do it like this, but if you tell it no back references, it's not actually going to do that. Um, you can do the names without generational indices. So basically, so it still lists them. And this was using yeah, using the oldest paternal names without generational indices. So that's why that one's at 16. Uh, if you tell it names together with, let's see, I think I got a little out of no back with oldest generation. That one? 16. Well, yeah, the names with indicational, I think, is just this is how I normally was doing it, where it had those numbers. And then with the personal reference number, oops, sorry, down here. Names with personal. Okay, I may have done something different. Well, here, let me just do this. Oh, actually, no, I don't. Uh, Rosemary asks, does no one use the numbering system? That's on these numbering systems. I'm getting to the ancestors. Right now, this is strictly on the descendants numbering system. So they're two different numbering systems. Actually, cancel that because, oh yeah, that's descendants. Yeah, I'll just generate this real quick. I must have missed this one. Okay, that one. Okay, that one doesn't do it. This might be because I'm not using personal reference numbers. That's the person ID fact. Is that right, Stefan? Does that use the person ID fact?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's why that one wasn't using it. So, okay. Okay, let's go on to the ancestor system, or the ancestors. Now, the Sasa Strandets and the Kikul, I'm sorry, I'm just butchering the name. This is what that normal, that Anantafel numbering system will look like. Because you'll see, we're basically the parents. Okay, John F. Kennedy. Now we're doing an ancestors book. Uh, the father is always two times the starting person, so JFK will be two, or is Joseph Patrick will be two. Rose is three. Um, Patrick Joseph Kennedy, he'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, and on and on. You can always take, like, since Rose is 3, her father is, you double it, so that's 6, and then Mary is double plus 1. So you'll see Patrick and Fitzgerald, they're 4 or 5. I kind of went down to here, and see, here's where people will say, well, it jumped. So you got Patrick and Mary Johanna, 16, 17, but now I don't have any of the other siblings. So the next generation, this just followed the Kennedy line, so it jumped 32, 33. Doreen asked, what did I do to get the ancestral section not highlighted to now only? Well, that's all based on what report you're doing. So on book items, if you tell it you're doing an ancestors book, you can modify the ancestor settings. If you tell it you're doing a descendants book, now you can modify the descendant systems. So let's go back to the ancestors. Uh, so that's how, and like I said, if you start going multiple generations, these numbers can get really big. Because John Kennedy's, his father would be 64, Bridget's, yeah, his father would be 64, his mother would be 65. Bridget's mother would be 66, and her mother would be 67. Uh, Now, and like I said, the more generations ago, these numbers can get really big. I mean, you can start easily get up to 5, 6, 7-digit numbers, depending on how many generations. Now, if you don't really want to do that big of a number, you can tell it to use sequential numbering. Uh, so then it will just learn. I mean, it will still go, but here you'll see, yeah, on the fourth generation, Patrick and Mary are 16, 17. But now their parents then, well, they're just the next numbers, 18, 19. So, and yeah, and this was covered. Stefan did point out uh, in the family chart area, let's see, where was that? Yeah, you can tell it to use person identifiers. And then in the chart, it would actually display that number. So in this case, John Kennedy would be 18, Bridget would be 19. So those numbers would be displayed in here. So uh, now the other number, okay. The others, these are similar, and now these are ones where it goes into that ancestral lines numbering. So like I said, you can uh, you can read up on those. But basically, what this is kind of like the Sosa the Sosa strand. This is basically like kind of keeping it by generations. These ancestral ones, these will kind of do the same thing, whether you do the father line or mother's line primary. I'll just kind of show because you can kind of see in the table of contents, they're going to start concentrating on the Kennedy line. So his father, grandfather, and then it'll start going, then so we'll kind of go all the way on the father's line. It'll kind of go up this way. It'll do this line, then this line, on. And then it will move over and do Mary's line, then uh, uh, follow the paternal line, and then before I'll go here to the Fitzgerald, and then go um, on and on. Somebody asked what numbering system is the simplest for people reading books that have never seen Family Tree Maker. I personally would use probably the Sosa, and then, I like this Kukul number just because if you know that the father is always twice that number, and then one, then the mother is that twice number plus one. It's easy enough to jump ahead if you want to just go to that person. Um, uh, otherwise, you can do the sequential numbering too, but um, with the Kukul number where it doubles each time, it's easy to go forward and backwards. So if you got like an ancestor with a number of say 100, okay, their child is person 50, you know. Or likewise, if you got someone that's like, okay, I got a woman, her number's 45, and I want to follow it, see who her father is. Well, it's 45 times 2, so it's 90, and the mother is 91. Uh, so, but likewise, on the father line, mother's line, yeah, let's just kind of go. Yeah, because see it kind of follows the Kennedy, then the Fitzgerald. So well, here it follows the Kennedy Fitzgerald and the Kennedy Field Fitzgerald. So it's just the order in which it follows the lines. Uh, and then likewise, these have got that ancestral pair lines numbering too. So, uh, so then now and then you can tell it whether you do have a variety of what numbers, line. So the line, the generation, sibling, or the pairing, that's kind of where it comes into more than one parent, I believe. Like I said, that's all explained on that website. I could go on for a couple hours just on all these different options. Sending, descending, let's just go on to the patrilineal limit lineage system, and this is a sequential. Let's see here. Ancestor, yeah. Here's the patrilineal father's line. And this is similar. This is similar to the ancestral lines. Well, actually, the it is. It's just the numbering system now. It's just let's see, that was 103. Yeah, it differs down here. 14211. Well, I guess I'm not exactly seeing sequentially number. I guess I'm not exactly seeing what the difference is between the ancestor lines and the patrilineal lines. But like I said, you can play with them, and like I said, you can read up on uh, that on this website. Like I said, I did try to, and it's like I start to grasp it, and then it's like, and then I lose it. So, but um, yeah. So our well, so that's basically, yeah, the reset settings, save load settings. So are there any questions? Because that's about it. Like I said, you can start playing around with these numbering systems and just use what works for you. Uh, I mean, for ancestral, I do like using this. For descendants, I have been a fan of this, but I'm actually looking towards using either the Henry system or the modified Daboville system. Um, just because when you start looking at numbers for people, you can kind of see which generation they are. So it's like I've got people. You can see this. This Melvina, for instance. She's the fourth child. So of the second husband of the third child of the starting person. So it's like you can. It's just sometimes easier to tell. So, and Phil said might be worth mentioning if people haven't saved settings as a template. This is a good reason. Get what you want, then save that as settings for this report. Yeah, you can, especially if you are experimenting. But like I said, when you exit Family Book Creator, come back, it'll always do this. Uh, it will always it remembers what your last system settings are. However, like I said, when you save your settings, it saves your title page. Uh, Colophon, your dedication page may be different. Like I said, this forward, I added this stuff, about the arms of John F. Kennedy. If I do a book, if I was doing, say, a book on Jackie's family or something like that, this wouldn't necessarily apply. Uh, and when you save the settings, it saves these 5 pages too. Like I said, you can individually save and load these pages. Uh, when you save your settings, you could also save it in the standard family book creator that does save uh, those 5 pages, the title, call to phone, dedication, blah, blah, blah. If you save it in the old format, the 2017, it saves your settings without saving those 5 pages. So I save a thing I did while it's called New Master, just because I go between different books, and so if I would use that if I say, okay, yes, yes, I have been using this, but say now, yes, I want to use this for all my future books. Um, so I can load in, like, say, my hall settings, which will have their own title page, dedication page. Uh, but then I can load those master settings, which is just the 2017 format. So I'll overwrite all these settings, but it will still retain these, and then I'll resave it as this format. So for next time, I don't have to remember to load in the master settings, but that's the way I work. That's the way my mind works. Um, so, but now that could also be confusing though. Just something to consider is like if you've done a book where say you've used one numbering system and then say 2, 3 years, you put out an update and you change the numbering system, that might be confusing for some of your family members. So something to keep in mind. So, but are there any questions or any other questions? You'll have to unmute yourself or just put it in the chat. Well, if not, we'll call it good and we'll see you the same time next week. And then this time we're going to be going, next week, we'll be going over this section and the privacy section here. Now, this one shouldn't be quite as involved. Like I said, this report style, I mean, this is just one tab and so many options. So many options. I mean, this one, there are sections, but basically it's just a matter of knowing which section these all are in. So anyway, like I said, this recording will be up later today, and you can rewatch it. And for those that couldn't make it, so we'll take care, and we'll see everyone next week, hopefully. So catch you later. Bye.